Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this next follow-up video. Hopefully, you've watched the video A Better Way, which really sets up the product and how we support you through the entire subscription quote to cash process and workflow so that you get a great insight on what's happening in the business across contract amendments or 300 different types of billing models. But now let's move into this next one, forecasting the future. Taylor Brown, who's one of our top solution consultants, has a wonderful demo, quick demo you to see what's going to be set up for you because you've set up all the chart of accounts, you've set up all the general ledger entries, you've got all the dimensional data in there, and you've collapsed your close by up to 80%, so FP&A can move a lot faster. My name's David Apple, head of the SaaS vertical. Can we move on to the next slide, Taylor? Because this is just a screenshot to get you fired up. You can build a budget dashboard for you CEOs to empower your P&L leaders to understand what's happening, CFOs to guide the data, but there's so much more. This is just a teaser. Taylor, over to you to show it.
Let's jump in. So like David said, there's a better way. Now that we're saving so much time accelerating that time to close, you have time to focus on doing ad hoc analyses, looking to that future and getting more into planning with Sage Intacct. So we're going to leverage Sage Intacct as a repository to actually get into our planning detail and information, leveraging Sage Intacct Planning as the main tool to now plan ahead for the future. So here you can see I'm moving between Sage Intacct into Sage Intacct Planning very easily. So simple point and click, drag and drop. I like to start out with this view so you can see that we can actually create limited views for department heads. So let's show individuals the information for the lines, for the head count that certainly pertains to their department, either in a view only or an edit only mode. Sage Intacct Planning allows me to easily put together budgets in the solution. So now I can pull in information by entity, by different dimensions. It's going to be actually doing the mapping for me in the platform. I can choose my date ranges. So now we can get into those 3-5-year plans as we look towards the future. And we can leverage dimensions in those chart of accounts that we set up during our initial implementation to make sure we're segmenting that data correctly in the system. We'll also start getting into employee records and additional headcount information as well. Again, we'll pull that color and detail into the solution very easily, and you'll end up with a nice budget like the one that I've already created for us here today, where we're able to now get into our insights and information and really understand that future state. We'll be leveraging our sheets to actually do this sort of comparative reporting. So looking at our working budgets, our forecasts, and our scenarios to actually do things like budget versus actual comparisons, even looking at information as it rolls into the system. So here you can see I'm doing that actual comparison, but as we move into 2020, waiting for those actual numbers to come in, I can still get that color and detail in my working budget. So how does this insight get configured in the system? So it all really starts with our inputs. So within the solution, I'm able to come in, leverage things like different spreads, so growths, billing amounts, same amounts each period to actually put together these different budget lines. I can even get into leveraging actual models within the solution. So now I have this additional backup and support, not in Excel, but within our planning tool, where I can actually see my different assumptions and drivers within the solution to actually put together these model lines and then link them to my initial budget directly within the system. I do like to preface that this solution is going to come with different models that we can come in and leverage. We can always track our different history as well, saving on different versions in the solution, but it makes it really easy for me to now put together models around things like my SaaS organization. So here I have things like MRR, CAC, usage revenue that I'm actually leveraging to actually put together models around in the system. I can even play with different Excel formulas. So when I think about things like commission, if I want to understand what that commission would look like based on quota attainment, multiplying that base rate if we're under quota and getting into accelerators if we're over, I can do that within the platform. We can even leverage different types of spreads. So let's say for my commissions piece, maybe that cash is going to be impacting at a different time that I'm recognizing that expense. Well, let's spread that across my different sheets so I can easily get back into my models and see that difference in the input. So now when I go into cash here, you can see I have a different amount for my cash impact for that contract expense. That looks a bit different than when I get into my actual P&L. So really understanding when that accounting impact is going to take place in the solution. We're also helping to forecast things like bookings. So now I can go into the solution, look at my bookings by things like new, expansion, renewal bookings directly within the platform, leveraging things like headcount modeling. So now I'm working with HR, leveraging that integration with my payroll platform to pull in all my different headcount insight and even plan for the future. So I might have an accounting manager starting in the near future, and now I can see that impact and understand what that's going to look like in the system. Finally, at any point, let's share this insight with department heads to help them take part of the planning process. So here, Joe Manager has modification access since we're in a planning period. And when we're done with that, let's restrict him to view only access so he can see his color in detail and really stick to plan. Finally, you'll get these nice dashboard views that David showed us at the beginning of the presentation. These dashboard views are actually interactive. So as I'm looking at different models, I can actually select certain assumptions. So here, if I'm looking at commissions, maybe I want to play around with the number of reps and see how that impacts my commissions model in the system. I can do that, switching the number, and then actually seeing that impact directly in the platform. So very easy now for me to put together models, for me to plan for that future state, for me to look at my cash impact, my sheets and information, for me to model out things like EBITDA and then save down those details of different versions within the platform, always moving back into Sage Intacct, leveraging this insight and information on my dashboard view to do that comparative reporting, always restricting and actually segmenting by dimensions in the solution. So now I'll pass it back over to you, David, to close us out.
Well, what an amazing day in the life of, because you're a CEO or CFO. This is the guidance. You want to define success. You want to hire great people. You want to give them the space to do things their way, but give them the yellow guardrails on what it is they're doing on budget and expense and impact and the likelihood of successful experiments that they run. And now you can see how you can do it. That was just a brief 5-minute version of what's possible. There's so much more we'd like to be able to share with you as it comes, because you can get these outcomes, reduce the quote to cash process and shorten the close, gives you this kind of insight to increase operational cash flow and reduce the forecast variance, because then you make great business decisions both for fundraising and for executing and sharp inform shiver your competition so you can win your market. If you want to learn more, simply go to sageintact.com/easyclimb. sageintact.com/easyclimb. Taylor, thank you as always. For our viewer, thank you for being interested with us. I hope maybe I personally meet you in the future. Everybody, please have a great day.